on the list of the World Health Organisation's kind of checklist of areas to be considered was transport. I appreciate not all transport in the borough is actually strictly kind of in Southwark's remit, but I suppose I wanted to ask about, firstly on a borough-wide level, areas like roads and pavements and cycling, that sort of stuff obviously does come under our areas of responsibility. So I just wondered if there were any plans or anything already in train to kind of engage, to kind of look at that and make sure that everything we're doing there is also as kind of age-friendly as we'd like it to be. And then secondly, the kind of areas of transport which fall under TfL's remit, whether we're equally kind of going to be looking at those and considering those just so that we can kind of lobby TfL as much as we can to make sure they're also appropriate.
Yes, I mean some of the things as age-friendly are outside the council's control, and transport is one of the things which in the main is, but you're quite right about pavements and cycling and that. I haven't yet, but it is something again that I will take more of a look at, and hopefully when I come back should have come up for you. But you are totally right, and we should be looking at things about pavements and bikes, things. But the TfL side, I'm totally up for lobbying at any time.
Hamish.
Thank you. And first off, Stephanie, congratulations on your key post and if you're stepping into it. Thank you for your presentation as well. I think I and I'm sure every member would applaud a lot of the work that's being done, and certainly applaud the promise to be an age-friendly borough, whatever your age. I think a lot of what you've spoken about and a lot of what's in the report, though, is very specifically related to older people. You did mention younger people very briefly in your presentation. I guess I'm partly asking whether the younger element of being an all-inclusive age-friendly borough falls within your portfolio, or whether it falls within somebody else, and if so, who it is and what's the collaboration. And if it is you, then what work is being done to try and engage with the younger people in Southwark?
With the young people, I think, as far as my portfolio, it was probably full-blown into Councillor Mill's portfolio. However, it's really important we engage younger people in the consultation stage. So the consultation that's going out shortly, it's really important that we listen to younger people's views on that and then take the learnings from that and then have some collaboration between the two roles, myself and Councillor Mill, to see what comes out of that and what we can do on that one. But it's really important we don't discount younger people's views on being age-friendly, and I think the consultation it's right that we listen to younger people and look into what they want as well with that. So, because we won't, and you're right, we won't be fully age inclusive unless we include all ages. But it wouldn't fall in my portfolio, but it's not to say we can't have some cross-working on that.
You can't do all ages.
I can't do all ages.
So Rebecca, you got another question?
I'll see just a very quick follow-up, Chair. I'm not sure I'm really allowed to.
No, go ahead.
Sorry. Is it possible that we could, as the committee, perhaps engage with Councillor Mills and ask her specifically what she's doing in terms of young people on this exact point?
We will.
Yeah,
we will probably. We can certainly ask. We can write to her and as a committee. If it's explained far later for obvious reasons. We will also. We haven't decided who's going to interview which cabinet members yet, because some of that will be put to the subcommittees and some will come here. So I think we're going to sort that out pretty quickly. And once we do, so it may be that she'll come to this committee, it may be that she'll come to both, it may be that she'll just go to the subcommittee. But one way or another, we'll get that message across. No problem. Okay, Rebecca.
Thanks, John. Steph, one of the things that we're doing as part of the Health Committee is looking at personal budget and kind of personalisation. And I think it ties a lot into what Gavin was talking about, that kind of isolation and social participation. With people being able to use the money that they get how they want, how are we kind of working to ensure that we're keeping the main clubs open or the main services open through charities, things like, so we've had community actors that have come to our committee and talk about some of the problems that they've encountered with it. How are we engaged in a dialogue with them to make sure we can keep certain places open even if everybody doesn't want to be part of that type of thing?
I think it's really important that we do, because I think it's really important that we do keep places open for people struggling to have that engagement, because I think I'm really keen that we sort of try to minimise isolation as much as possible. So again, that is something that 5 weeks into the job, but not everyone looks at every year. But personalisation, yes, one of the things I'm really keen on is making sure that people do have a place to go if they want it, and where possible we can keep as many places open as we can and work with the third sector as well around that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Paul.
my questions have already been added again.
Very good. I like it when people do that. Okay, and Catherine.
Thanks very much for the report and for coming and seeing us. I just wanted to comment on that. I think sometimes just generally when we talk about ageing, and this whole emphasis is very much about ageing and people getting older and continuing to be active and participate fully in society, that we almost get to a point where we suddenly start thinking that people then need to be more focused on caring for and looking after and being recipients of services, which is often true, but I think we need to make sure that we're still enabling people to participate as much as they can and as much as they want to, while recognising that people may not have quite as much energy as they used to, and certainly usually not as much money as they used to. But I just think there are things that we could do to sort of emphasise the experience that people can have and that they might be able to share with, say, younger people, and just help to understand the ways in which people want to participate, because the fact that they're still living in a kind of vibrant central London type of area must be a combination both a challenge and also an opportunity for people. And I think sometimes just generally the way in which we start thinking about older people can be a bit kind of restrictive.
No, you're right. I don't think you're right. And that's just because you're old doesn't mean so you need to look at it from a care point of view. You know, people do want to be independent, and lots of older people live very independent lives and are very active. And I think we do need to recognise that. And I also think, you know, we focus especially society when we look at all these generations come together. I think that's when we're at our best, and I think that's why what Amy said, it's really important we involve young and old and middle-aged people as well. I mean, I think they've got quite a lot to contribute to society as well. And I just think that, yes, you're right, we shouldn't just say, oh, old people need care, we look at care for them. Actually, you know, we have younger people who need care and older people who don't need care, and I think it's looking at the cross-section across the whole of society and seeing how we can help support people the best, whether it's through independence or whether it is through care.
Okay,
Just on those points, but not too repetitive, repeating it. I mean, the thing about young and older people is they do make up the highest population, the most deprived areas. Certainly, you know, on the estates and the lanes, you can physically see that. So really, on the back of some of the very good points, we should really have, it's sort of in here, but it's not explicit enough, an intergenerational heading. And under that, there are some excellent examples, you know, where you can get in children's centres, not just befriending, but where older people are active around where children are, children's centres, pouring teas and coffees for parents and helping. You know, that's just one example, but there are many, of how you can actually bring those groups together, not in a, you know, where one person's just needing someone popping round, but, you know, active engagement. So that needs to be in there. I think the other thing that I wanted to raise was the issue of gated communities. I definitely feel that in Southwark, you know, that when you go and see older people, whether you're, well, you know, when you're campaigning, it can sometimes be a bit of a hoo-ha to get access, really. Partly because older people may feel that they, you know, want to be safe. But, you know, I feel that having to go to gatekeepers to talk to people, you know, would only add to their exclusion. So I think that's something that we need to address head on, really. And my final point, if I may, was the issue of the over 50s. I mean, Cllr Cryan has done some excellent work on that, and you know, Paul and I are working with that, and we'll recycle that and put it out to the Labour group. But I hope that in your current role, you'll continue leading that work, because it's what we need.
If I take the first point about the community, I think what's really important is that we don't prejudge what the consultation is going to bring out. And I think it's really important that the consultation is community-led, and that we look at the findings of that. And I think hopefully we'll find that there's quite a lot of what you said within that as well. But I don't want to preempt what the findings. When
will we have the data back from that?
Sorry, towards the end of this year, so October, November time, we'll finish the consultation and be working on the analysis. By then we should have some sense of what that's telling us. And just on that point about intergenerational, we have an intergenerational network in Southwark called SIGN, and they will answer that as well. Their views about how we do more work.
Okay.
Council data communities, yeah, I totally, it is hard and it's sometimes with that. I mean, last week I saw the plans for the new almshouses in Southwark Park Road. Totally innovative, really innovative, where you've got a community space, cafe where the community can come in. You've got gardens, so that it's working with the community, so it's not a gated development. And I really, the use of space and light is absolutely fantastic there. So that, I think, if that could be a blueprint for the future when we look at regeneration and things like that. I think that's really a really nice way of doing it, and it is part, and the whole idea is involving the community within that as well, with a cafe where people can drop in and have a cup of tea. So there's older people's activities, there's also young people's activities, so there's activities going on as well as the almshouses there where people are living. So that's, but I think that is something that we could, if that works really well, which I think it will do, we can take on board maybe for the future the blueprint there as well. And your last point, which I about the other gifted employees, yes, I will still be banging that drum in a minute. I think it's really, really important that we do look at how we can best get, help people and the gifts back into work.
Thank
you.
Thanks, Chair. Thank you, Stephanie, very much. The other really good place is Darwin Court, which is great, and it's got a swimming pool, which
and it has the dementia cafe there as well.
Yeah, no, it's really good. And our council group did the dementia training, and I'd really recommend it. It was very good, and it involved bingo, which is particularly. I realised I didn't know how to play bingo. Sorry, but there you go. I think this is a really important piece of work. The most important relationship in my life was with my grandmother, and we lived with her and stuff, and really formative relations, and I echo the points about intergenerational stuff and how important that is. I was just going to ask two quick questions. One of the things our group suggested in the past is a phone number for older people into the council, because dealing with council switchboards and call centres, and actually just having somebody who knows about all this stuff, particularly if there's new stuff coming up, would be really helpful. And the thing I come across in casework most with pensioners is when they're having major works done. Actually, that's when people who are older contact me at their most distressed, and I know there's sort of been work done trying to do things with housing. Family Mosaic, who are based in my ward on Queen Elizabeth Street, they did a really good piece of work trying to link up housing officers with older people, and I have raised it with the leader of the council, and I know he's done stuff there, but I just think that disruption in people's homes and any sort of big change really, really does, I mean, it worries anybody, but particularly older people. So I just kind of encourage and say, I think we've all had casework where major works haven't been necessarily going very well. Recently in my ward, the Keaton's estate had some really, really poor subcontractors, and there is something there which I think those major works contract managers need to particularly pick up on, looking after older people in the estate, identifying them, checking in with them more regularly, because they're also often least likely to complain because they don't want to make a fuss, and they actually get very scared that if they make a fuss they won't get their works and stuff. So I'd say I think the work that's being done at the council is between the council and age and housing officers, but actually I think the major works team might need some extra support with dealing with older people.
I think the phone number, yeah, I can definitely look into that. I think if we're looking that we want frontline staff to become dementia friendly, the major work team could be form part of that, which may help alleviate some of those issues.
My point is just they're often subcontractors is the issue. Thank you.
Good. Okay. And was there anybody else who wanted to ask Tom? Yes. I missed you that time. When you did one.
I was still thinking about my question when I got surprised. The thing that jumped out though from a housing perspective, you talked about an increase in volunteers. Is that right? Was that Irish pension?
Yeah.
So just a question, not for now, but outside really, whether or not you could find out from them when they started to see that increase.
I've got a meeting with them in a couple of weeks.
That'd be good, because one of the things in our allocations policy, the new one that's been introduced, is an incentive towards volunteering, so the star and the banding and so on. And I'm very interested from my committee's perspective on whether or not that incentive is being taken up, and whether or not it's qualified as well. So it'd be good to know whether fit in with that, or was it something else?
I've also got a trustee meeting there sometime tomorrow, so I can bring it up there as well.
Cool, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. So what you'll see from the later paper that we've got on our work programme for the coming year, that we're going to be looking at this over the coming months, and this is one of the first up really that we'll hopefully be concluding pretty quickly. Now obviously some of that work is, I won't say mirror, but it hopefully will enrich the stuff that's going on with the big conversation and the consultation that you're having in terms of creating an age-friendly borough. So what I suspect we would do, and hopefully you'll welcome this, Stephanie, is that we will carry out our scrutiny, talk to other organisations, talk to as many older people as we can, engage as many older people as we can in our scrutiny of this, to come up with a list of recommendations, and then kind of throw that over to you as part of the same process. So hopefully it will be helpful that the two things are happening at the same time, rather than us getting in the way or vice versa. So that's what I'm proposing that we do. Obviously the next step for us now is to make sure we engage with as many organisations and older people as we can, and there's obviously a number of different ways that we can do that, in terms of survey tools, in terms of getting people along to these meetings and holding other meetings outside of our traditional committee meetings. But we can kind of bottom out exactly what that's going to look like soon, but that's the general approach that we're going to be taking.
So, yeah.
Brilliant.
Those consultations
Fantastic, yeah, and it'd be good to get some of the raw data from your consultation as well, so we can take a look at that. Brilliant. Well, thank you for coming along, and we shall move on.